Hello, it's Dave, the I don't know, some type of gardener, Maryland gardener. Growing stuff in my backyard. I'm gonna give everyone a mid-summer, I guess it's like mid-ish growing season tour of my greenhouse, which I did before, but this is, I guess, a couple month in review of how well that thing's doing. My raised bed, tomato, whatever cage tent I built, and then the stuff I'm just growing out in the yard straight up. I'll go over some of the problems I've had, successes I've had, tips I kind of learned along the way, and just general Maryland 2025 growing season things I guess, learned or figured out. If any of this is helpful, of course, the likes and the subscriptions do make a difference. It helps me make more videos. So if you like or you learn anything here, please, if it doesn't cost you anything, give me a like or even a subscribe. And I want to point out, I found a channel on YouTube recently that I liked, another Maryland gardener, Kelly, I think her name is, from Be Your Best Gardener. I was so surprised because it's another person that's doing the hydro grow. I think she messaged me back that she's going to be doing a raised bed, a garden or something. I started hydro indoors. I grew everything over the winter with a pretty good amount of success. And then summer came and I decided to move my hydro outside. Outside is much more difficult than inside in some ways, other ways it's easier. So some things are easier, and I'd say overall it's more difficult growing outside. For you film students out there, this is what we have, or we call a continuity error, because my shirt is now red, the sun is no longer above me, and it's because a deer came along and I flipped the camera around to film the deer and I must have cut the video off by accident. And yeah, so I'm horrible at making videos. Not much better at gardening, but at least some of the stuff I grow I can eat. So anyway, indoors easier, man, and hydro is easier. I just put it out there. You can do both with a certain amount of success, but when I had everything going on inside and I had them on in the tents, the grow tents, and I had the lights and I had the hydro system, I controlled 100% of the environment. I didn't have to worry about drought or too much sun. I didn't have to worry. I controlled 100% of the environment, more or less. Outside, there's a lot of factors you don't control, and insects are one, little ground animals that get to your stuff, another. Inside, there was none of that. There was no pests inside. And that's the number one thing that's screwing me up now. The number of blackberries I've lost to ants, birds, squirrels. I thought I put up a good fence on my berries, but what wound up happening was a small enough bird, I didn't realize birds came so small, he was able to get through, get the blueberry twigs off the plant, and fly away with them. No idea he was doing that. For 6 weeks, I'm like, my blueberries just don't seem to get to harvest. They start and then they go away. It's feeding the birds. So now I got bird netting on that thing. That's the blueberry, or the berry patch, I guess I should call it. Which way is my finger going? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I had to do that. Luckily, now it seems like I'm going to be getting some. But then the ants start taking their share. So anyway, it gets to be nuts. So I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'm going to go start and see if I can't link this video up with what I shot earlier before I realized I wasn't shooting and talking when I wasn't recording. Here goes. So from what I could tell in my Microsoft Movie Maker software, I was somewhere around here before I realized the camera was off. And I'll just go over this a little bit faster. So that plant, this one, and this one, these 5, my quintuplet group here, these were all seedlings that were grown indoors. They started in a little, the Aero Garden thing, and then they got too big for that. And I went to the buckets, so I moved them to the buckets over the winter. This was started last October-ish. I know they're not doing great. This one's probably going to die. There was originally 6, but 1 died. I'm probably going to lose 2 more. These plants made dozens and dozens and dozens of tomatoes over the winter, which people were like, how are you growing in December and January? And then I tell them it was an indoor setup. And then, of course, the next question is, how much weed are you growing? And I'm like, none. It's just edible, plants. And now edible doesn't even work because people eat the weed. But basically just tomatoes and stuff you buy in the grocery store I was growing at home. So, one of them, the one that my King Kong of the indoor tomatoes over the winter, I even gave him his own 23-gallon bucket. And the rest of them are your standard 5-gallon buckets you can get from Firehouse. $3 for that, anywhere between 8 and 11 for the black one at Home Depot, depending on what time of the year and what sale they got going on. And then the rest of these here, and I'm not going to go too far into this because my next video picks up somewhere, or my next clip I should say picks up somewhere. I have actually some growth here, as you can see, the tomatoes and this and that. If you see soil, that means I bought the plant like that and I just drilled a 6-inch hole and stuck the plant in. And if you see rocks, that means it came from a seedling. But they're just starting to flower now. Hopefully they will be making fruit soon. I mean, a couple of them are, but we'll see. And this hopefully leads into clip 3. Yeah, as I was saying, this one was bought from the store. So while it's hydro setup, the roots haven't propagated down. So these two here, he hasn't made any tomatoes yet. He has. Over here, this one is from seed hydro. You can see how well he's doing. We should have some pretty good roots on this guy. And look at that. Whoa, hold on. I got stuff in the way. We got some nice roots going on with him. There's the film from the hydro solution and whatnot. And all these ones on the top are the made from seed ones. And unless they have a dirt bottom, and even some cases, I think some of them, I know the Sugar Suns I planted too. If it's not dirt, it's that coconut core stuff. Oh, it looks like I got a couple little tomatoes. Some of these are cherries. I wrote the names on the wood itself. I know Hucho burns his things as a way of sealing them. Yeah, that used a lot of gas, so I burned 1 or 2, and then I was like, that's too expensive. So here's my tomato tent. This part of the video is specifically I wanted to send out to Kelly on the Be Your Own Gardener thing. So what I did here was I bought a raised bed, 18 inches tall, 12 feet by 4 feet. And I was going to order the dirt and do it all myself. And then I was like, the tub method of Hucho's method is so much better. Look at the success. Now, these are all from seed in here. And once again, I put the little tags in so I know what's what. Because when you got this many going on, it's hard to tell what your plants are. Some of them I think I did right on the top as well. While I don't really, it's not true. I got some tomatoes. Let me try to get inside the netting. Looks like I do got some little tomatoes coming in there. These guys haven't really started to produce their fruit yet, but I had to recently trim them because they got above 5 feet tall and they're getting up into the netting. So I got to try to keep them at 5 feet and then force the plants into fruit production stage. Also on my hydro nutrients, I substituted the grow with the bloom nutrient. So now I'm actually fertilizing them for fruit production than I am for growth, because I've got a decent amount of foliage, as this looks like. And then here, the deer really went to town on my potato plants. I had to put the wire mesh around them, and then to keep anything else off, I got the the netting as well. So they've got the wire first, and then the netting, and then the bottom. I guess you could do potatoes hydro. I did the dirt bag method. So when these things are ready, I'll just open up the bags and my potatoes should be there. That one's hurting. Some are doing better than others, but the main reason why I guess I'm struggling with my potatoes is for the longest time I didn't have the protection. And I'll give you a pan shot. There's the street. Here's my yard under a treed canopy, and then we've got like woods in the backyard. I tell a lot of people, excuse me, I'm more of a plant protector than a gardener. And what I mean by that is, I watch these other YouTube channels, and I grew inside all winter, and literally growing inside was awesome because I just really, I had one plant got aphids, One got spider mites, but dozens of plants didn't have any of that problem. And when you grow inside, you don't really have to worry that much about bugs or deer at all, or any of those other issues that you have. And then you go outside and it really becomes about protecting your plants. So anyway, so there's Quictent, whose brand I chose. We'll go inside and we'll look at more of my hydro setup here. So the outer rail, I've got celery on the far rail. That's starting to do okay. And then I've got some smaller, cherry tomatoes in the middle rail. Those rail have no running water. They're straight up Kratky downspout method. And they're doing okay. And then here we have another pump, and the pump pumps the water up to here. That's where it comes in. See if I can get it to come off. Yeah, so my water comes in there, and then as it comes in there, it spreads out to 5 pipes, and then the 5 pipes go down, and over here they drop down, and then they come back, and then this is the bottom where the reservoir is, and I'll see if I can pop that open. 27 gallons. This is the $10 Home Depot, and my reservoir, my nutrients, and my pump are all in there. So this is mostly for lettuce, and this is my lettuce hydro tube setup. The only thing I want to point out is originally these were 6 across. Having grown using these same or similar tubes all winter, the lettuce can kind of get bunched together, so I spread out. I spaced it out another 1.5 inches, so now I only have 5 tubes across, but still, it's 9 by 5. Each one of these is capable of doing 45 lettuce. You're wondering why I'm not growing all 5 tubes right now and I have the others blocked off from light. Block off from light so you don't grow algae in your nutrient solution, and furthermore, not only do I not want to grow the algae, I'm trying to stagger, because if I planted all 90 of these, then I'd have 90 heads of lettuce ready in 1 week. So what I'm doing is, week or two, I'll plant. I'm doing 2 because I'm out of lettuce now after moving it from outside to inside. And then I'll wait, probably next week I'll plant this row, week after, 10 days after that one, and then the last. And that way I'm going to be staggering my delivery so the things come in bloom a little bit quicker. Now, my larger hydro setup, which is right here, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, has 6 downspouts. Let me try to shoot this from the other angle. It might show you better. I had to build a frame. Well, I build wooden frames for all these. And you can see this, the downspouts come, the pump starts there. That's an 80-gallon tub, so this is much bigger. I'm not going to lift up the lid, but you guys have seen these from Home Depot. They're my nutrient solutions, A and B. And the water gets pumped up to here. I want to point out I had to put a flow valve on here because the pump I have can overwhelm the speed of which the water trickles down, and I had to slow it down a little bit. The pump had to slow down, but that wasn't enough, so I had to go with an external one. And the water comes up to here to the top tube, runs the distance, and then on the other side I got something like this. None of this is glued. Well, the end caps are glued on. These are the Hucho end caps. But the rest of it's just PVC is just pressure fitted on, so I have to take it apart, reorganize it, clear out a clog, which I've had to do twice now. I could easily just tap it out with a screwdriver or end of a screwdriver or whatever. And I have different stuff going on here as well. I got some more tomatoes. I got some peppers. You can see my peppers are coming in. The white stuff is kaolin clay to keep the bugs off the peppers. Looks like that guy died. I got new lettuce planted. I got some other lettuce that's coming in down there. And you can see the top row here is all new lettuce plant. You can see I'm skipping one as well. This is tape that's dark enough to block the light. So I got lettuce coming in there. These are tomatoes, but what's really turning me on this week is looks like I got my first peas. This row here are the peas. Some of them shot down, like that one went down. Some of them went up. I can probably trellis up the ones that went down at some point, but it looks like I'm going to be getting some peas in at some point. which I've never grown peas before this year. That makes me happy. We got a lone basil plant here on the end. I haven't sprayed him, and you can see something's already started snacking on the leaves. So when you spray that white kaolin clay, and you can either buy it straight up as kaolin clay, or you can get the actual commercial version, which is called Surround WP, which is just really fine clay. You see things don't actually snack and bite on the leaves. And then I got a basil row as well. Oh, someone down there needs to get trellised up. He fell over because he got too big. And what's really nice about this is with the wooden frame, if I need to trellis something up, I can just take the stakes, just drive them in the ground, and then attach the plants right to the trellises. So I really kind of like this method. At first I was like thinking I was a little bit crazy to build this, or maybe it wasn't the right way, or I should have had them all flat. But now that things are starting to actually grow and get bigger, I like the fact that I've staggered it, because by staggering it, what that allows me to do is the plants at different cycles of their growth, I can trellis them or not trellis them as needed. So, you know, my 6-tube system seems to do pretty well. And then the rest of the stuff I got in the greenhouse are pretty much all tomatoes with the exception of one cucumber. And you can see all of these as well are all growing hydra. Now these are the 5-gallon buckets. And I know the Hucho YouTuber says to get the maximum yield, you want to have a 20-gallon bucket. Obviously space wasn't going to allow that, and I already had the buckets, so I used them out here. I'm okay if my plants are a little bit smaller. That's not going to kill me, but at the same time, you know, I realized I would get a little bit more fruit if I used bigger buckets. Maybe next year, but you know, these buckets are $3 a piece from Firehouse subs. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. There's the Firehouse $3 buckets, and the Home Depot buckets are between $8 and $11, depending on which store and where you buy them from. Let's see what our roots look like on these. Oh my. So you can see I got nice, white, healthy root growth off of these. Now these, everything against the wall here is going the Kratky method, meaning I only top the water off at the end of the month, check the nutrient levels, and see what they need, where the hydro tubes have water that's constantly being circulated through you know, the pipes. So it's like an NFT style method versus a Kratky method. And then the last thing is I had extra buckets and extra plants, and what I did here is I had extra everything, and I just took some tubes and I tubed it in, and then I had extra fabric. I got to blow all this out with a blower. And the tomato plants I didn't know what to do with. I just moved them out here. They're protected. Nothing can get to them because of the fabric. Here's the fabric right here. I got clips. These are the clips, and I just clipped the fabric to the posts. There's another example of me doing that from the outside. And I just enclosed this. And what's nice is I only had to really do the top because one side backs up to the greenhouse, so I have the greenhouse for protection, and the other side backs up to the netting for the tomato cage I have. And I have 2 pepper plants here that I got from a store, and they were the hanging style, so I hung them. I made this little, took some extra tubes, and I made a little trellis for them, and I hung them here. They each made 1 pepper so far, and they haven't repopulated the peppers, so I don't know. I got some more lettuce going down there. Those are my ladybugs that I got, and that's the bag they came in, and I just dump ladybugs in each one of the chambers here, so that way anything that grows, aphids, spider mites, the ladybugs just go to town and take everything out. So, and there's water, and there's plenty of places, nooks and crannies for them to go and make their ladybug nests. I have tubing as well that's been cut 6 inches for ladybug nests. I did that when it was inside, but out here there's just plenty of places for them to nest on their own, so I don't think I need to provide a house with them. And the only other thing was I was going to put a little thimble of honey out in case there's not as many bugs to eat. They can just go eat the honey. Only thing I'm worried about doing that is maybe ants, but I might put the honey up somewhere, you know, up here. Maybe I put it up top over there. You can see they're all congregating toward the roof. right now, this time of day. But you know, there's plenty of water and everything else for them to get to. There's water down in there that came off of there. Nutrient meters, I have the truncheon, and the other one I have, oh, where did I put it? Oh, I know where it is my Blue Lab. And that probably fell in somewhere. Well, you might get to see this after all. No, it's not in there. There's the inside. There's the pump, the water level. Well, I got a Blue Lab pH meter as well, floating around somewhere in here. And that's how I measure the pH. I'm doing my pH. I try to do it around 6.1, 6.2 is where I try to shoot for. It's usually not that bad. One of the other things I wanted to point out is people are using pH down. And I don't get that. I don't get why people are buying pH down. All you really got to do is take a 1 gallon jug or whatever, fill the jug 85% of the way up, and then just put some lemon juice in it. I'd say maybe half cup of lemon juice, and then take your pH reading. And it's not hard to make a solution that reads pH 3.0. And then I use my little measuring cups like we have all over the place, and I'll put in maybe about 5 gallon. I probably put in 10 milliliters and then read the pH. The bigger ones I have to kind of guesstimate how much and then measure. And by doing that, I can get my pH to go down. I've never really had my pH get too low. I'm always going down, so I never really needed pH up. However, if I was going to go pH up, I would just use baking soda. Again, mixing the baking soda with water to have a solution, and then there's my pH up. But I've never had to go up, so it's always been down, and lemon juice has always brought it down without any issues. So, just wanted to point that fact out. I don't know if everyone knows that, but you can buy pH down. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I already had a bunch of lemon juice, and why not make use of it? Oh, we got a little visitor here today. We have a tomato that grew right toward the bottom. Look at him. He's a nice size too. So anyway, this is my hydroponic greenhouse being grown in Maryland. I'm zone 7A from the USDA hardiness zone. And like I said, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Be Your Guest Best Gardener channel, every channel is bigger than mine. Mine's non-existent basically, but for the few people that watch mine, she's in Maryland, Kelly, she's growing somewhere in northern Maryland, and you know, she seems to be doing the hydro as well. Figured out how much easier it is, because literally this is, now that I've got everything built, this is minimal care. This is 5 minutes a day for me to just walk and make sure nothing fell over, nothing catastrophic happened. And at the end of the month, I spend a half Saturday either pruning the plants or checking the water, or if I need to, adding or cycling water, however it need to be. And it's just so much simpler. Yeah, I got the dirt stuff, but I'm going to tell you the dirt stuff, there's a whole berry patch on dirt that I haven't showed you. I've had constant bug problems, other issues that I just didn't expect, and I just don't have any of those problems on the hydro. So hydro, I mean, honestly, my girlfriend Natasha loves growing in dirt because that's what they did in Russia. But I'm like, yo, it's a new age, and hydro is so much easier, especially if you're not like a full-time gardener. And I'd like to grow everything on hydro I could. It's just an easier way to do things. The plants grow faster. You get a really good yield. I just prefer not to do dirt. I prefer hydro. So anyway, this is my midsummer update for my greenhouse. And by the way, the Quictent greenhouse, like I said, I got it off Amazon for $200. Absolutely worth it. This thing is held up. The only problem I've had, which wasn't its fault, I had a stick fall and puncture through. It's not that big. It's like this big, but of course I was paranoid and I put a huge amount of tape over it. But I mean, the zippers are great. No structural issues. This greenhouse has rocked it. You can see I got lighting for if I want to garden late at night. I have 2 of those, and those are camping lights that I also got off Amazon that I use for camping. Again, I could just pull those down and voila, I have everything I need to deal with the plants at nighttime if I need to garden late one night because I had to work late. And honestly, if I do it all over again, or if I'm gonna, you know, keep going at this, I'm gonna get the 30 or 40 footer next time, because I can honestly say the stuff that grows in the greenhouse is much more protected. And the only negative side of the greenhouse is you don't get water, but if you're growing on hydro, you don't need water. So a greenhouse beats the whiz out of anything else I've seen when it comes to growing outside on hydro. Anyway, so I hope somebody liked the video. I hope somebody appreciates my update. And I guess I'll do another one in a month, give or take, or maybe when I start to get my first yield, which should be any week now. And I got 12 different varieties. I can list them in the description of tomatoes going, so it'll be interesting to see what I get. And that's all. That's my mid-2025 grow season update. Hope you enjoyed watching Dave's growing channel. I don't even have a name for my channel. It's just Dave and Maryland growing stuff. So anyway, have a great day. Hope somebody enjoys this, and I'll talk to everyone on the next video.